Good afternoon, viewers and listeners, and welcome inside a brand new edition of Senior Spotlight. As always, my name is Brett Schaubs, and today I'm joined by our very own Reed Becker. Reed, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so let's dive right into things, right? You've been involved all over the place, Dean, since you stepped foot on this campus. Talk to us a little bit about your involvement here and some of the things you do.
Yeah, so here at Dean, I've been a part of the Dean Daily, the campus newspaper here, sports writer covering all Dean sports. And from being involved with it so much, I became the sports editor. So now with that, I'm in charge of assigning games and reviewing people's articles to get published. On top of that, as you know, I'm part of the sports broadcasting team, covering games for sideline, play-by-play, PA, everything, and hosting radio shows. And I'm now one of the assistant sports directors on that as well. And DNN, obviously, here with Alex Green since my freshman year. We've been doing our segment Beantown versus Big Apple Sports, New York and Boston sports, just talking about different sports in those two areas.
Awesome. Ton of experience also. Obviously, DNN and the Dean Daily have been your two big powerhouses here on campus. Let's dive a little bit into the Dean Daily, right? You were promoted to sports editor at the end of last year by John Rook, and since then you've been pretty much taking the wheel at the entire sports department over at the Dean Daily. What has that experience meant to you, and how has that developed your journalism skills?
No, yeah, it's definitely an honor to be the first sports editor in Dean College, Dean Daily history. And for me, it's a good, I would say, leadership role to obviously add to your resume and just to know that your work that you put in from freshman year when we were on your computer screens at home to be able to work your way up it means a lot. And it helps, I think, your proofing skills. I think it helps your leadership skills, especially when you're looking for internships or full-time jobs. You're able to talk about leading a group of people. So it's just multiple things like that. It helps you for sure.
Now let's dive a little bit into the word you just mentioned, and that's internships. You have been all over the place in Cape Cod the last 2 summers. You've been working with the league, the Cape Cod Baseball League itself. For those of you who are not familiar, the Cape Cod Baseball League is one of the most, if not the most prestigious summer wood bat league in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You've been doing sideline reporting, you've been doing interviews, you hopped on Nesson a few times. Tell us about that experience and what you gained from it.
Yeah, I mean, it was a blast. I would have never thought that that would have been a possibility when I first stepped on campus here, but through networking on LinkedIn and reaching out cold to, for example, Justin Shackle, who at the time was the Yankees in-stadium reporter, worked his way up now with the Yes Network down in New York. He put me in touch with John Gardner, the director of broadcasting. I called John out of the blue, and he said, "Oh yeah, we just hired a female. We're looking for a male, so let's go." But first summer 2022, I get there. My responsibilities included I go to every game every night, any game I want. I interviewed players, coaches before and after the game. Really was focusing behind the scores, more on the side of the actual storyline for the players themselves. That was one aspect. I also had Cape League reports on WXTK that aired the next morning, drive time morning radio, giving the scores that night, and then the schedule for the next day. For WEEI, that first summer, we had Cape League Games of the Week where I came on, interviewed some other team broadcasters, discussed storylines for the game or for the league, which was a blast. And then Nesson, I was able to go on. We had Cape games on there as well. I was chosen to become a sideline reporter for some of the games and did some stories on there as well, which was a great experience as well. And I've been able to just also interview a bunch of really cool people. I've interviewed Peter Gammons multiple times. I've interviewed Ron Darling. I've interviewed Sean Casey. So the list goes on. And then this past summer, the same thing between Nesson and the Cape Reports. And plus, we even had, we went to Fenway Park to cover basically a combine for the top prospects in baseball and be able to go on the field at Fenway and cover them, be right down the lower bowl and talk to all the players. And talking to Jared Saltalamacchia, very popular up here. It's a blast.
Saltalamacchia, of course, a former Boston Red Sox catcher, world champion. He was an assistant coach in the Cape League last year. All right, Reed, last question. Obviously, you're a part of the sports broadcasting department through and through. For a young freshman entering that program, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
Yeah, definitely get involved early on. For me, I would say especially as you get to internships and obviously full-time jobs, but they're going to want to see work. So take every opportunity you can. Don't say no. And also, one thing I think that doesn't get talked about a lot is everyone wants to be on air, do play by play, be on ESPN, whatever. But I'll tell you people this: start writing as well, though, because if you can't write, you can't do anything in this industry. Plain and simple. I mean, if you want to be on Nesson, like when I went on Nesson to do silent reports, I didn't just show up and just say stuff off the top of my head. I wrote out my script and notes beforehand, and it translates to everything. So get involved early, make connections for sure. You're going to need those. That's how people get jobs in this industry. And just write and get as much experience as you can, and don't say no.
Awesome. Well, Reed, we want to thank you for jumping on today, and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to jump on to any of our previous episodes of Senior Spotlight, be sure to check out our social media platforms at D News Network. For now, my name is Brett Schaubs, once again alongside Reed Becker. We will see you in the next installment.